Good afternoon, YouTubers. This is Kay again, taking you with me on another leg of my journey into Leca. So, today, what I want to introduce you to is my orchids. Uh, a lot of people, including myself, I know, have difficulty in keeping orchids alive for very long. I think I've had an orchid for 6 months, and I was just so pleased that it lasted for that long and it did bloom with me. And I don't know what made that orchid die when it eventually died. And I was really disappointed because that was the first time that I've had an orchid that has stayed that long with me. So this time around, I'll put my orchid in Leca and I'll see how I get on with that. So the Leca system, as most of you are already aware, is a hydroponic system, whereas you get these clay marbles, you wash them thoroughly before you put them in your pot or jar or whatever you choose to use, and then you put the plant in, and then you'll add water to about a third in the glass jar or whatever medium you, vessel you choose to use. Now, my first orchid, I believe it's a moth orchid or hybrid of some sorts. I chose to get some really cheap orchids to start off with initially because I did not know how the hydroponic system would go. So this first orchid that I got, I bought it at Tesco's for £3 because it's not much of a loss if it didn't survive. So here I've got this one in the Leca system. Since I put it in Leca, I haven't looked back. It's doing really well. There was some damage to the root already, hence why the plant was so cheap at Tesco's anyway. This rooting system um, for orchids are quite interesting because the root is actually inside of this vessel here, this green system. This you have to, when you know that your orchid is doing well, you see this has got this light green. That way you know that your orchid is doing well. As I said, there was some damage here initially, but obviously it has scabbed itself over. There is no rotting going on there. It is healed quite well, and the root is gone down into the system. There's water in the base here, and this one has done really well. It is still flowering. Some flowers are opening up. This one has been in the hydroponic system for maybe about a month, and yeah, I'm really pleased with this one. Then I've got this orchid. This one isn't doing well at all. I noticed that there was some root rot around the crown. This one I paid £5 for in Tesco. So there was some root rot around the crown of the plant itself. And the tubular thing that holds the root, that green thing that I explained to you, that the actual root system is runs in the middle of that green, what you call root. That was rotten. So I took this plant out. I gave it a good wash, sprayed some hydrogen peroxide on the root, on the what was left of the rooting system. There is no root on this plant now at all. The root is totally gone. So there it's devoid of roots. So whether or not this plant will survive, I don't know, because as you can see, the leaves for this one is a little bit softer and a lot less shiny than the others. You can see where it's crinkling a bit, and these flowers, they're going to fall off any minute because there's nothing to anchor to, because the spike itself has dried up a bit. I don't know whether you can see that. So orchids does like air around its roots, though this has got no roots. So I just see if there will be anything that will spring from the crown of this plant. What I did after I washed it and last night and put the hydrogen peroxide on it, I left it to dry. This morning I then put some cinnamon powder because that is a good astringent, for the want of a better word. It's an antibiotic. It works well with plants to scab over wounds. So we will see how this fares. Again, because it's got no rooting system, and knowing my luck with orchids, I do not know that this will survive at all, but we will see. The next one I want to talk about, it's another similar orchid. I believe they're moth orchids or a hybrid of sort. This one also in Leca. All my orchids are in Leca, guys. The It's doing really well, really, really well. The rooting system, um, nice and nice pale green, you can see with the rooting system. There are some that has dried up. That is not unusual. When you put your plant in leca, that you'll have some root that will basically waste away. So this is what has happened with this particular orchid. As you can see, the crown of all my orchids will be out of the medium altogether, because the idea is you got to let the roots of the orchid go find the water itself, on its own. So this one, really well, really pleased with it. There's several roots that's gone down into the orchid. There's new roots that is coming out. You can see sorry, I don't want to disturb the plant too much, but there's a root coming up just here. So we know that this plant will find its own way, and the flowers are doing so well as well. You can see on the spike, nice, sturdy, vibrant flowers from the spike. So this, guys, I believe is a success. The water is just down here, which is about a third. These have had to top up quite a bit. For these two, I've had to top up quite a bit because it just seemed to, I don't know whether it's evaporation or what has caused it, but I've had to water this quite a bit. But please remember, if you choose to go hydroponic, do not put more than a third. Let the root system find its own way. With orchids, though, please bear in mind that you may lose some of the roots to root rot. Don't be afraid, because once it gets used to that medium, get used to the culture, it will make new roots and send down into the medium, and it will just drink whatever water that it needs. The next one I want to show you is this guy here. Another variant of the orchids. This one is a yellow, or well, obviously it's yellow, as you can see. This is doing quite well. This has been in the Leca system for about 3 weeks. I can see some root rots taking place here, but I'm not worried about that because it has formed new roots since I have put it in the system, and I can see that I've got aerial roots which are kept, it's got aerial root here, which I left it out when I potted it, because I thought, not to shock the plant too much with the new medium. So I left it out, and it's got root growing here. You can see the root going down towards the water. Some of the roots are drying up, which is not unusual for orchids. I've got some dry roots here, which at some point I will cut away. I am leaving it be for the moment because there is no rotting in the water. If it was in the water and rotting, then I would go ahead and take it out. But these are roots simply making its way into the system to find the water. So I won't disturb this plant at all. I will just make sure that I never get the crown wet. New root here, as I showed you, coming up, will descend into the medium. or it might become an aerial root. Either way, it means that the plant is happy, and this one will remain undisturbed as well, because I believe it's doing well, making its own way. The other and final one that I want to show you guys today is this one. It's a different type of orchid. This one actually has got root system, and it lives in medium similar to soil, and that does quite well. It's not the same as in living in bark as these other orchids that I've shown you initially. This one, I believe it's called Dancing Lady or something similar to that. I got this at the garden center, not for very much because I don't spend a lot of money on plants. There's only two plants that I felt that I've gone above board with in terms of my expenditures. So this guy, I've only repotted this in Leca yesterday, but I ensure that the rooting system just reach the water just here, so that especially because it's got flowering buds at the moment, I don't want any harm to come to those. So I needed to make sure that it had the amount of water that it needs. So we're yet to see how this guy will fare, because he's newly been put into the hydroponic system. Please ensure that with orchids like these, any plant whatsoever, but orchids like these, you look for any roots that might not be healthy, remove them. I use a small toothbrush whenever I'm cleaning my plants. So scrub properly. When I say scrub, not to hurt the roots, but any dead roots that will fall off, that you don't want them in the system in the first place. Trim a bit if you can, to get rid of any scraggly roots that is in the medium, because you don't want anything that is going to immediately rot away. So any weak roots that is on the plant, you want to get rid of those. Make sure that it's void of soil altogether, because root rot in hydroponic system, the main cause of that is the soil. If there's always fungus in the soil, no matter what. So any that is left onto the plant will will cause the root to rot once it gets saturated, and it's constantly saturated by the hydroponic system. So please ensure that you wash and rinse properly and put them into your medium. Now, I feel pretty confident that this plant will do well in the Leca system. Again, the trick is not to put too much water in any of your plant, only to about a third. This one is only because of the kind of rooting system why I make it come all the way up to the root, so that it didn't dry out, and that immediately it will start to become accustomed to the system. Again, guys, please do like my videos and like and subscribe. Please click on that red button in the corner there. Any questions you've got for me, please put them in the comment section below, and I will endeavor to get back to you with any suitable answers. If I'm not able to answer, I will be frank with you and tell you that that's above my knowledge grade. Please, guys, do come along with me next time on my other videos as I take you through my Leca journey. This plant I will give you an update in about a week's time, because I'm curious to see how it will get on in the hydroponic system myself. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and all the best to you for the new year 2021. Let's hope it is better than this year. Take care for now, and catch up again soon.